feel like I'm at summer camp right now here at base camp in Sunbridge. It's been 2 years since we brought you down here and kind of showed you the dream of what Sunbridge was going to be. Now 2 years later, there's a school going in, there's lots of neighborhoods, lots of growth. I'm excited to dive in what's here and what's coming, so stay tuned. All right, so this is base camp. This is essentially where you're gonna find a lot of information about the property. There's also the trailhead for a lot of the walking trails that are here locally. We're gonna go inside and kind of give you a brief overview before taking you deeper into the neighborhood.
Hopefully this rain holds out.
Yeah, summertime's here. So, you know, June 1st and we've got rain already upon us. So exciting, hurricane season. Let's go. All right, so let's start off with location first. Sunbridge is actually 27,000 acres and spans both Osceola County and up into Orange County eventually. Right now we're here at base camp and we're gonna show you kind of what's coming down over into the next neighborhoods. Oh hey, before we get too deep into the video, I noticed some of you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, so hit the subscribe button and the bell. We're putting out videos every week around real estate, theme parks, and living in Orlando. So this is base camp trails. Many of the people on our videos in the comments talk about developers that are getting rid of trees and tearing down all of the nature. But that's the one thing I love about Sunbridge is that they're basically making it a nature hood. They're doing their best that they can to preserve a lot of the different conservation land in the area and to keep it a really prime neighborhood that feels like it's always been here. That's one of the things I don't like about the Orlando and Florida area sometimes, is that there's a lot of these neighborhoods where the developers only think about the houses and not about the actual neighborhood. So if you're looking to get in touch with nature and you're looking for a development that's a little bit more mature already, I think that that's something that Sunbridge offers. So this is the waterfront area or district, if you will. And I think that looking at the renderings here, this feels very similar to me as like a Baldwin Park or a downtown Celebration, where you're eventually gonna have hotels and retail and shops that are gonna be great for eating and people that just live in the Sunbridge area. And I think it's going to draw a lot of people out of the Kissimmee, St. Cloud, Lake Nona area, very similar to the way that Lake Nona already has with their branded restaurants and that sort of thing. So this right here is an amazing amenity to have right inside the neighborhood. Not too far over there, you can see the canal, which eventually will connect over to the lakes area. So for those living in Sunbridge, I think this is a massive win. The first two neighborhoods here in Sunbridge are in St. Cloud. And so there's a lot of stuff that needs to still come, but to visually kind of give you an idea of where we're at, if you know where our Narcoossee is and Boggy Creek, that's actually just 2 minutes away from where we're at here in Sunbridge. It's actually a very accessible kind of area. There's been a 45% increase of population growth in this area of Osceola County. So we need houses, we need roads, we need a lot of the stuff that's coming right here in Sunbridge. So it's actually a very exciting thing. Let's take you into the first neighborhood. The first neighborhood we're here is Del Webb at Sunbridge. Now this is the first neighborhood that they actually started putting in, and at completion will be over 1,500 houses. It's a 55+ active adult community. If you don't know anything about Del Webb, they've got these kind of all over Central Florida. There's one over in Mineola that's coming. There's one over by Disney called Del Webb Oasis, and then here, Del Webb Sunbridge. Now it's got an amazing amenity center, it's gated, and a lot of single-story homes and different model products that you can choose from. They've got villas that are connected as well as single families. There's a lot of options if you're thinking about that active adult lifestyle. People always ask, how often does it rain in Florida in the summer? The answer is every day, but only for like 10 or 15 minutes. Unless it's hurricane season, then it could be a couple days. Sunshine State, gotta love it. So this is Westland Park, and right now it's about 600 homes, and we'll eventually get connected over to where the new K-8 school is going in. It'll be over 1,000 houses once it's completely built out. There's a lot of builders that are some of my favorites: Ashton Woods, David Weekley, Toll Brothers, Kraft Homes, and Pulte, that are all building. But there's a few things that you're gonna notice about these houses that are very different than over in Del Webb or really anywhere else in Central Florida. Come over here for a second. So one of the things that I think is really interesting is that they're working on drought-free landscaping. So you'll notice there's no grass in any of these areas. And what they're going to be trying to do is look at how does this react over the next 5 to 10 years compared to having a grass front yard over in Del Webb or maybe over in Laureate Park, where they have very similar homes and very similar climates. So they're working on sustainable neighborhood studies with some of these big companies to find out how they can work on a better neighborhood for tomorrow. One of the other ways they're trying to make a more sustainable neighborhood is every house in Westland Park, and most likely the rest of Sunbridge, is going to have a solar panel roof on it. These have the Tesla solar panels on them. It's pretty cool to see how you can zero base your energy costs right in the new construction process. Many times people will reach out and ask, hey, if I get solar panels on my property after the fact and it costs me $50,000, how much value am I actually going to get back in resale? Unfortunately, It's just not there yet. But if you move into a neighborhood that already has them as part of their standard package, so you get the benefits of solar without spending more after the fact. So talking about the solar panel roofs, they basically come with a 10-pack standard, and you can upgrade to the power pack on the outside of the house plus the actual roof tiles for probably roughly $100,000. So it depends if you want to get the plug-and-play 10-pack or upgrade to the full, it's up to you. One of the things you'll notice walking through Westland Park is it feels very similar to Laureate Park over in Lake Nona, but it almost doesn't feel very Floridian, does it, Jay? It feels very like, I don't know, it feels almost like Texas to me. It just feels a little bit different, but you do have a lot of different options, 5 different builders who also have multiple models, multiple elevations. You've got townhouses that range from the 400s and these houses that range all the way up to $1 million plus. So there really is something for everyone. One of the #1 comments that people mentioned in our last video was that Sunbridge had a lot of, well, all of the houses are wood framed. And what does that mean for termites and potentially hurricane damage? Well, I talked to on-site project managers and outside of the neighborhood, talking to builders, asking what do they think? Well, many of the builders here are building homes with 2x6 pressure treated lumber on the main floor, and that'll help in terms of keeping the house sturdy. But on the outside in Westland Park here, you're gonna notice there's no stucco. Instead, it's James Hardie backer siding, which is like a concrete composite. I think about the comparison to stucco on the outside of the house and how you have to constantly keep the cracks filled and keep it painted, or water's gonna get in, compared to what they have on the James Hardie siding. I think this is actually a much better, more superior product. So what are the downsides? Because there's always a downside to every area. Well, #1 people talk about are the schools. Right now, there are no schools as of mid-2023, but there is a K-8 getting built right now that will be open in the summer of 2024. So that'll be right here, and you're not gonna have to drive too far outside of the neighborhood. So that problem will get solved. Especially if you think about building a house right now, it's gonna probably take you 8 to 12 months anyways. So that's right there next year. The second thing that people are concerned with is just how to get here, right? And I think that the biggest thing that's coming for us is the Osceola Parkway extension. That's gonna go all the way up through Sunbridge, and they're also gonna be connecting additional roads all the way through 2030 to make this whole area significantly more accessible. So let's talk about accessibility. I remember when I first moved here, Horizon West seemed like it was so far away from everything because nothing had been built out yet. Well, Sunbridge already is far beyond what Horizon West was at the time that I moved here. You're only 15 minutes away from the airport, 10 minutes away from Lake Nona and everything going on up and down Narcoossee. You're also only 50 minutes from the coast, and I think there's a lot of people that are working on the Space Coast and Port Canaveral that would consider working here, just taking the beach line on down. You're 35 minutes from downtown Orlando and Disney, and so really accessibility is not as big of an issue as many people would think. It's been amazing to see what's happened here in Sunbridge over the past 2 years. And I know it seems like maybe even just a small little area that's been developed, but there's 27,000 acres of total space here in Sunbridge. There's gonna be over 8 million square feet of office, commercial, and industrial, 400 acres of civic space, and so many other things that are gonna make this really its own community unto itself. This is a multi-decade build out, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch it all come together. So if you're looking to invest or make Sunbridge home, reach out. My team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. My email is info@pozekgroup.com, and we'll see you guys on the next video.